Pompey Sound. Updates, the latest from Fratton Park, on the hour, every hour. Fueled by Piglet's Pantry. Click pigletspantry.co.uk to get your fill.
Listen out for Steve Bone's piece on Pompey Sound, in which, amongst other eye-openers, he cites the possibility that Pompey have a new Freddie Potts on their radar. He is 19, has already made 2 Premier League appearances, and like Potts is a product of the West Ham youth system. His name is Lewis Orford, and as Steve points out in his piece, he is no relation to Pompey legend Andy Orford. Orford is a central midfielder who likes to get forward and getting involved in scoring goals. He is what is often referred to nowadays as a fully fledged number 10. And that is a position that Pompey have been looking to fill for some time. Orford has played for the England under-16s and 18s and under-19s. He joined West Ham's academy system aged just 5. He registered at West Ham at the age of 8 and worked his way through the age groups. He signed his first professional contract with West Ham shortly after his 17th birthday. He made his debut for the West Ham under-21 side, aged only 17, and scored 2 goals, and was credited with 4 assists from his first 10 games in the Premier League 2 and EFL Trophy. He began training with the first team in November 2023, and in January 2025, he made his senior debut for West Ham against Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Orford has been compared to former captain Declan Rice, and draws comparisons with Frank Lampard in his ability to arrive late on the scene for scoring opportunities.
We've had a look at Lewis Orford because it's nice to have something to chew on, something to talk about, something to get our teeth into a little bit. Lewis Orford, as revealed by Steve Bone in his piece on Pompey Sound, he's no Freddie Potts in that he's much more energetic than Freddie was. Not going to go on comparing him to Freddie Potts because that's not fair. But the first thing you notice about Orford is that he pumps his elbows. He's everywhere. He's very busy. He's elegant. He's got 2 good feet. You see him passing the ball long and accurately with both left and right feet. He likes to make defence-splitting passes. The longer, the better. Josh Murphy will love him because one of his specialities appears to be a long diagonally forward pass out to the left wing, and he puts it straight on the guy's feet. So that's perfect. That would suit our style of play so much, wouldn't it? He tackles. It's not the strongest part of his game, I don't suspect, partly because he's 19 apparently, but he's one of those players who could be 12. He's got a really youthful... Remember those pictures they dig out sometimes of David Beckham when he was, 12? This lad looks as though he hasn't started shaving yet. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that he is clearly a player. Graham Potter is well aware of him. The West Ham fans are urging Potter to pick him for the first team. But it might just be that a year in the Championship, toughen him up and bring his game on. And West Ham know from Freddie Potts that we can be trusted with the likes of Lewis Orford. So at this moment in time, a cautious yes, please.
And a dog that was barking in Sussex can be heard in a village in Kent.
Completely random. That was an advert for Anchor Butter going back a good few years, voiced by John Arlott. Very memorable, nostalgic little ad. 1,000 apologies. A football journalist, football talent scout and coach, Dean Adams. I asked him, where will his eye go when the fixture list is published?
But yeah, I think my first view is going to be who are we starting with? Who are the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fixtures? Who do we end with? Who are the last 4 or 5 fixtures? And then I'll be looking at Southampton. Obviously, we want to beat Southampton, but for me, that's just another game we need to win at home and get a point away at. But for me, it's the first 5 or 6 games and the last 5 or 6 games. I think they're the critical ones, and then I'll be looking at the Southampton ones after that. But yeah, for me, it's an exciting season because we'll have hopefully an improved squad. We've seen what we can do last season. We'll have players back from injury. We need to keep them fit. We've got the added bonus of Southampton coming down. So next season, without the stresses of worrying about a relegation battle, we need to sit back and somehow enjoy it, which we should be doing.
And you can hear Dean's entire piece elsewhere on Pompey Sound. And he's right, of course. We need to enjoy the excitement and the build-up towards our second season in the Championship with a tiny bit more confidence, perhaps, than we had going into our first season when we weren't sure about ourselves, one or two of our players who came through with flying colours. But this season we have just a little bit more confidence, and we know what we can do at home. Like everyone is saying, all we need to do is pick up some more points when we're on the road. But it's important to enjoy this build-up to the next season. Elsewhere in his piece, you'll hear Dean talking about the fact that he kind of wished that he'd enjoyed last season a little bit more than he did, because of the trepidation, the start that we had, which was largely the fault of the way the fixture list was skewed. And I'm not accusing anybody of skewing it deliberately. It's just the way the dice rolled. But it was a hard start to the season. We put in, as Dean reminded us, and reminds us in his piece, we put in a great performance on the opening day. It really, really gave us some cause for optimism, which then began to just sort of drift away, trickle away, as the results didn't quite go our way. And we found ourselves, didn't we, rock bottom at one point. But now we can enjoy this close season and hopefully enjoy next season and start to feel part of a build towards Premier League football. But as we keep stressing, it will not happen next season, this coming season. It won't happen the season after that. But possibly with 2 more seasons of building under our belt and youngsters who at the moment are too young to have learned and learned and learned under what is clearly an excellent coaching setup, we might just be ready for anybody. We asked journalist Steve Bone what he thinks of the fact that Betfair have got Pompey as one of 3 teams most likely to be relegated. And he wondered whether they'd put their book up based on simply recent last performances, with some teams, of course, coming forward from the Premier League.
If you followed that to the letter, you would always have the teams relegated from the Premier League would always be the 3 favourites, wouldn't they? I don't necessarily think, because am I right in thinking that Ipswich are favourites?
Yes, 5.5,
which is probably fair, isn't it? Of the 3 teams that are coming down, they look the strongest. Leicester could have a few complications. I don't think Southampton will go back up straight away, personally, and I'm not just saying that because it's them.
There's a momentum there, isn't it? That's going to drag them down.
Yeah, it's going to take them.
They've been losing so many games. They're going to struggle against Bon Accord.
Not just going to. Yes, not going to suddenly turn it around. So I'm not too worried by Betfair.
No.
We'll come back. We'll remind Betfair of this if we're 10th after 10 games or something, won't we? And we'll say, well, what are you saying now, chaps?
Elsewhere in his piece, which you can hear elsewhere on Pompey Sound, Steve talks about an interesting sentence remarked by Rich Hughes, which is worth chewing the fat over, and also tells a brilliant story about the time a team, an international team, in a World Cup qualifier needed to score an own goal in order to go through to the next stage. Fascinating. But on the business of Betfair making Pompey one of the 3 sides likely to be relegated this coming season, Steve thinks they got it wrong. And he wonders just who comes up with these early prices, whether it's somebody who doesn't know so much about football and have been seconded from the horse racing or the lacrosse department or something like that, because it doesn't fit with all the talk that's going on about Pompey having the best young manager, there isn't a better young manager in football than ours. The way in which the team have been shaped, the way in which they comfortably changed style of play during the season, and it turned out to be right, and it worked perfectly, and now we've got the option of playing it 2 different ways, which strengthens our potential, no matter how many and who we bring in during the closed season, and people are going to be coming in. And John Messino has been very clear that 1 or 2 players who he's had to let go didn't quite crack it at championship level, and he wants players who can do it at championship level, and that's who we're hunting for. We're holding on to one or two players who we know can play at championship level, but he's presumably, and the recruitment team generally, are looking for players who they will be able to say are that much better at championship level than the players that we've got who can do it at championship level. So this is the labyrinthine, multi-level layer of thinking with what Rich Hughes refers to as deals that have a great many moving parts. And that's what's going on behind the scenes at the moment at Fratton. I hope these guys get themselves a holiday of some sort, but I bet you they take their mobile phones and their laptops with them around the pool if they do manage to make it to Torremolinos.